So this was honestly pretty unexpected. Apparently Hooters, the legendary wings, beer, and scenic views restaurant, is reportedly preparing to file for bankruptcy. Yeah, you heard that right. The place that's been a go-to for sports fans, casual diners, and, let's be honest, groups of dudes looking for some extra friendly service is in some serious trouble. Now, for some people, this might not be surprising. Hooters has been struggling for a while now, closing locations and trying to adapt to a world that's, well, changing fast. But for others, this feels like the fall of a cultural icon, a place that defined a whole vibe for decades. Alright, before we talk about how it all came crashing down, let's rewind a bit. Hooters started way back in 1983 in Clearwater, Florida. Classic Florida move, by the way. From the jump, the restaurant had a simple formula. Decent food, cold beer, sports on TV, and of course the waitresses in the iconic orange shorts and tight white tops. What's interesting is that Hooters wasn't just another sports bar. It had an attitude. The company leaned heavily into a brand image that was fun, casual, and just a little bit cheeky, literally. The original 6 founders even referred to themselves as the Hooters 6 and designed the place as a parody of the stuffy, corporate restaurants that dominated at the time. And look, whether you love it or hate it, you know what Hooters is about. It wasn't just a place to eat, it was an experience. You'd go there for the vibe, the social setting, the idea that it was for the guys. The restaurant became a staple for watching sports, hanging out with friends, and for some, a rite of passage. And it worked. Hooters became a household name, expanding across the US and even internationally. At its peak, there were over 430 locations worldwide in countries like Canada, Mexico, South Korea, and even the UK. They even had a casino in Las Vegas, an airline called Hooters Air, yes, that was a thing, and a swimsuit calendar that became a major marketing tool. For a while, it seemed like Hooters was untouchable. So where did things go wrong? Why is Hooters now facing bankruptcy? First off, times have changed. The whole restaurant concept, yeah, that's actually what these places are called, doesn't have the same appeal it once did. Society has shifted, and younger generations, particularly Gen Z, just aren't vibing with the whole scantily clad waitresses serving wings thing like past generations did. There are a few big reasons for this. Changing social attitudes. In the 80s and 90s, Hooters could get away with its whole wink-wink branding. But today, that kind of marketing just doesn't fly the same way. Many younger consumers see the concept as outdated or even cringeworthy. The internet changed everything. Don't get me wrong, it's not that people don't like attractive servers. But today, if someone wants to see a pretty face, they're going on Instagram, TikTok, or OnlyFans. Not a restaurant where they also have to pay for overpriced wings. The internet basically made the appeal of Hooters kinda obsolete. More competition in the wing game. Let's be real, Hooters was never known for having the best wings in the game. If you put Hooters wings against Buffalo Wild Wings, Wingstop, or even just a solid local sports bar, it's getting outclassed. And with so many new restaurants upping their game with better flavors, sauces, and quality, Hooters just didn't evolve enough to keep up. Rise of food delivery. More people are eating at home than ever before. Apps like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub have made it easy to get restaurant-quality food without ever stepping inside. And let's be honest, Hooters isn't a place people order from. The whole appeal was the atmosphere. So if fewer people are dining out, that's a huge problem. Failed attempts to modernize. Hooters tried to adapt by launching Hoots Wings, a takeout-focused version of the brand with a more casual approach. But it never really took off in the way they hoped. The problem? People don't associate Hooters with just wings. They associate it with the full experience. And here's where the money problems come in. Over the last few years, Hooters has been shutting down locations left and right. Even before the pandemic, the company had been struggling due to declining sales. But then COVID hit, and it was basically game over. Restaurants that relied on takeout and delivery were able to survive, but Hooters? Not so much. Their business model depended on in-person dining, sports crowds, and a specific experience that just doesn't translate to takeout containers. Some key financial struggles include massive decline in foot traffic. With people changing their dining habits, Hooters struggled to bring in new customers. Increased rent and operating costs. Like many restaurant chains, the cost of keeping locations open has skyrocketed. Failed international expansions. Some of Hooters' overseas locations never really caught on, leading to closures. Bankruptcy looming. With fewer locations, rising debt, and changing consumer habits, Hooters is now reportedly preparing to file for bankruptcy protection. It's a classic case of a brand that refused to evolve until it was too late. So what do I think about all this? Honestly, it makes sense. Am I shocked? A little. Hooters is one of those brands that felt like it would always be around, kind of like Blockbuster before it crashed. But at the same time, it's not surprising. The reality is brands have to evolve. If you don't keep up with the times, you get left behind. And Hooters, for the most part, didn't change much over the years. It had its formula, and it stuck to it until that formula just wasn't working anymore. Now, does this mean Hooters is completely done? Not necessarily. Some locations might survive under new ownership, or they could try a complete rebrand. Maybe they focus more on the food, improve their menu, and shift their marketing. But let's be real. Without the whole Hooters brand identity, it's just another wing place. And here's something else to think about. Are other old-school restaurant chains next? We've already seen places like TGI Fridays, Applebee's, and even Red Lobster struggling. Could this be part of a bigger shift in dining trends? Are casual sit-down chains dying out? Let me know what you guys think in the comments.